Everyone, thanks for being here tonight. We're here for a city council meeting. It is Monday, August 16th, 2021, and we'll start the meeting with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Nordstrom.
Here.
Weifenbach. Here. Roberts. Here. Stroman. Here. Armstrong. Jones. Here. Lehman. Here. Solomon. Here. Evans. Here. Drew. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And tonight we'll have our invocation by Pastor Timothy Stoon. And following the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Well, Father, we come to you tonight and ask for wisdom, just like Solomon, that we might have discretion, that your word might come forth, your presence might be here, and favor may abound. Thank you, God, that we might make decisions that are favorable toward you, that this city may move forward in the nurture and the admonition of you, God. We give you praise. And that this nation might be one nation under God again. We worship you and we honor you. We set the precedents by doing all this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. And all who agreed said, Amen.
Thank you, everyone. And now on to the adoption of the agenda. This is the point in the meeting where the council may adopt the agenda as written or make certain modifications. Would there be a motion?
So moved.
Motion to adopt by Lehman.
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor of adoption of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of council members present. We have a couple of speaker requests here for general public comment. One of them is Neil Beats. And all our speakers tonight will have 3 minutes to address the council, and you can watch these lights over here to see how you're doing. They're just like right up here on the dais. They're just like traffic lights.
I'm already in trouble then. Mayor, council, staff, my name is Neil Beats. I live at 242 East Bengal Drive here in Rapid City. But I'm here tonight on behalf of my daughter and my son-in-law, Noel and Isaac Simmons, who live at 1972 East Galaxy. Spend just a moment talking about myself, then a moment talking about their water issue. It's a billing issue, and then I'll conclude probably by running out of time. For 30 years, I have worked in city government. First 14 were as the city attorney for Mesa, Arizona, from 1987 to 2001. It's a time when the city grew from 200,000 to about 400,000, so we were busy. The next 16 years were spent as the home rule city manager for 3 communities across our country. One was Roseville, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis, St. Paul. The other is Federal Way, Washington, which is about halfway in between Seattle and Tacoma. And then finally in Windham, Connecticut, about 20 miles east of Hartford. All beautiful, wonderful communities like Rapid City. But in this particular instance, I am here to bring to your attention a problem with the bill that my daughter received and her husband. They relocated here from the state of Washington last fall. They paid water bills there in the range of 30, 40, 50 bucks a month. They relocated here to Rapid, and for 8 months, from about September to June, their water bills were about 30, 40, 50 bucks. They didn't think a whole lot about it. Then they got their bill for July. The bill for July was $594.15 for the water portion of their bill. And so we called up the city water department. They sent a staff member out. We asked about checking the accuracy of the water meter, and he said, the meters are accurate. You must have a leak in a toilet or a faucet or a shower or a tub or maybe the sprinkler system. Oh boy. Long story short, the water department continues to take the position that my daughter and her husband used 4 units of water for about 8 months straight and then used 106 units. 106 units is 10,600 cubic feet of water, 79,000 gallons. If that were the case, their house would be floating down the street. And I will conclude by saying that amount of water would fill a swimming pool that is 22 feet wide, 100 feet long, and 6 feet deep. Fortunately, the billing department takes the position that the water meter was inaccurate. Probably the remote device that sends the signal from the water meter to the utility truck that travels around our neighborhoods and collects the readings. We are meeting with them on August 24th, and hopefully we will resolve the issue. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Next, Sean Jewett.
Hello, my name is Sean Jewett. I'm the president of the local ASME 1031 union. Mr. Mayor and honorable council members, let's remember at the beginning of the pandemic, you looked out from this same dais and promised that this city would not lose essential services, even if FEMA trailers had to roll in. As a city body, we accepted, fulfilled, and exceeded that challenge. Congratulations, first responders and essential workers. We did it, and we did not waver. We are reaching out to you today on behalf of the members of ASME Local 1031 and the departments that we represent. We are disappointed and deeply concerned with your recent decision to change Agenda Item 40 regarding COVID hazard pay as originally written. We would like to reiterate the points raised by Public Works Director Dale Tech and voice the frustrations of the unseen workers that keep this city running day in and day out. In the simplest terms, hazard pay is defined as extra pay for working under dangerous conditions. Members of the Public Works Department and a number of other departments we represent also work in conditions that are considered dangerous with no option to say no. As you know, ASME positions are largely comprised of men and women, primarily in blue-collar positions. These positions are not the first thing that comes to mind when talking about the function of a city, when in reality, they should be. Promises were made by you, and those promises were kept by us. At no time through the pandemic did Public Works fail to deliver on our mission to protect the public's health. The men and women who are doing the hard and dirty work of providing clean water, processing wastewater, collecting garbage, and keeping our community clean and safe deserve to be recognized for stepping up day in and day out through the pandemic despite our personal risk. Please take a step back and reconsider your decision to leave Public Works and all departments under the ASME umbrella out of the conversations and reward our dedication and sacrifice with the same compensation that you gifted the fire and police departments. Our jobs also protect the health and safety of our community, albeit differently than the police department and the fire department. In alignment with Alderman Jones' statement, we are challenging you to keep the door open and to consider the remaining employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you guys showing up.
You bet.
And that's all for public comment. And now on to non-public hearing items 1 through 42. We'll open public comment on items 1 through 33. I have a speaker request on a couple of these items. Chuck Henry on items 11 and 12.
Hello again. On 11, the police department and fire department are the best in the nation. That's why people, other fire departments and police departments come to Rapid to get trained, which is great. And it's great recognition for our police and fire. On 12, we know back in 1972 when we had the flood, it was kind of unprepared. The community was unprepared. And that's a good thing that we're funding this committee, because the fire department, police department can't handle all of it. Fire department can't handle all of it. The county sheriff can't handle all of it, and their deputies. Emergency management can't handle all of it. We've got to have the community trained where they can respond when there's help needed. I took the CERT class that county provided. I'm also certified in CPR and first aid and AED, and besides 2 other ones. And which one's stop the bleed, or learn how to stop serious bleeding. But all these people need help. So we need to train the community to be able to respond. Thank you.
Thank you, and that will take us through the public comment period. So we'll close public comment. Now on to consent items 1 through 33. Go to Pat Jones.
I'd like to pull number 25, please.
Any other council members wish to pull an item from consent? If not, could we have a motion then to approve consent with the exception of 25? Motion by Evans, second by Lehman. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to item 25, approve request for interfund loan of $1,056,260 between SAB 28 Fund and the Monument Fund. Pat Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move approval of this item and if we can get a second. Thank you.
Second by Roberts. Go ahead.
Mr. Balzer, could you please take the microphone? Thank you very much. Good evening. We've talked about scoreboards before. It's come before us from time to time, and I think right now the score is your requests 0 and us 2 or something like that. I don't think it's gone very well, so I would like to see us be able to move forward with this and do what we can to help you out. It seems to me there was a scoreboard put in the original design, right, as you were doing the project. And then is this kind of a step up to a gold standard scoreboard? Maybe it's in the middle of the floor, or why do we need to do this rather than what's already being projected?
Right. Can you hear me? Is my mic on? Okay. The original scoreboard in the budget plan was end-hung scoreboards at the ends of the arena and a limited ribbon board. And what we're put in as an add alternate into the project is a center-hung scoreboard, 4-sided, and extended ribbon board. It does 2 things for us. It helps us compete with other similar venues in the region for sporting events and tournaments and things like that. It also increases our ability to sell sponsorship, which is how we're going to pay that loan back. We're already have acquired quite a bit of sponsorship if we get the center hung scoreboard. So that's what it is. It's definitely an upgrade is what it is. It is not, we're just now thinking about putting a scoreboard in the building. We had one planned, but it wasn't the center hung.
So there was always an idea to have a scoreboard, and then, like you said, it was an add-alt, that this would be really nice to add on if possible, and you never know till you get to the end of these projects what you can and can't do.
Right, we had 7 very important ad alternates, and we've got most of them in, and we're at the end now, and that's exactly right.
Well, between you and Skull and the major contractor, a lot was done to make things work on this, and again, I applaud you for that publicly because it's important to do that. What would this scoreboard allow us to do that the one you're requesting, or the original one, would not do?
So this is a center hung. It's as if a chandelier in the middle of the room. So it creates a lot more visual and visual excitement in the room. And it also plays in all 4 directions, where if you have a large end boards on each side of the arena, some seats are quite a bit of distance away from that area. So I think it's a preferred venue. You've been to arenas with the big center hung scoreboard. I think it's the preferred way in a large arena to do it. And that's why we always wanted to get it and we put it in as an ad alternate. But again, the sponsorships availabilities on something like that are quite enhanced, quite a bit. And you have not only the video production side of it and additional sight lines for that video production, you also have some static boards that go with end boards that are able to sell additional large sponsorships.
So every time you and your folks go out to look for events to bring here and to market our facility, every little thing matters, I assume. So could it be fair to say that having something like this may be the difference between getting an event or not getting an event?
It could be. I mean, if we were up against the Premier Center in Sioux Falls for a big tournament or a sporting event of some kind, or even in Brookings or Fargo or something like that, yeah, that could be a decision factor. We did base a lot of things. We had another ad alternate in the building that we did get into the project, which was adding additional locker rooms. Most buildings build with 6 locker rooms. We wanted to build with 8 to get large tournaments attracted there. So a lot of what we were doing is trying to build our business going forward in the future and compete with other venues.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion to approve item 25. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. That takes us through our consent items, now into non-consent 34 through 42. We'll open public comment on these items, and we have a speaker request from Chuck Henry on items 36 and 40.
Something briefly on 36. Marijuana is still against federal law, selling or using it. On 40, a fire department station 1, if you have never been down there, or if you've been down there and toured it, is so dang small, everything is really, really, really kind of crammed. And nowadays with firefighters and paramedics that are females, they need a separate place to shower when they go to fire. So that's one reason why. Then I still feel that the fire administration needs to be separate from the actual firefighters and that. Like I said, there's more women in it. There used to be a tower for firefighters to train at Voltech, but they tore it down. So we definitely need another tower so firefighters can keep and well trained any issues they go to. Then we have the police department. A lot of people don't want a southwest precinct, but when they come and they need the police, and they complain about the long response time, maybe they'll see the difference why when they need it. Thank you.
Thank you. So now on to, that'll close the public comment period, and now on to ordinances, starting with item 34. Item 34, second reading of ordinance number 6456, an ordinance to amend and adopt provisions of the Rapid City Municipal Code relating to animals in Title VI. This has been continued from July 19th. First reading was approved on August 2nd. Motion to approve by Jones. Second by Nordstrom. All in favor of approval of item 34, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 35, first reading of ordinance 6502 regarding supplemental appropriation number 5 for 2021. Motion to approve, Lehman. Second. Second by Roberts. All in favor of approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 36, first reading of ordinance 6501, an ordinance to prohibit public smoking of marijuana by adopting section 8.32.060 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. We'll go to Darla Drew.
Thank you. I have a question on this one. So is there some kind of fine that is attached to this? I'm sorry, I don't know if there is, or if it's just illegal, or exactly where we are with that. Maybe Chief Hedrick could answer that question.
Probably Joel Landine would want to
Joel
answer
Landine?
that.
Okay.
So any city ordinance violation is subject to the city's general penalty provision, which is a fine up to $500. A fine for something like this would probably be in the $50 to $150 range.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, well, that answers my question. Thank you.
Greg Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. May I address the city attorney?
Yes.
Joel, so you have a up to $500 fine for this. Is that what?
Correct.
Is that in but you think as a practical matter, it would probably end up being 50 to 100 or 150?
Yeah, usually we, with the courts, adopt a fine and bond schedule that has it, just like all of our ordinance violations, again, are up to $500, but speeding, is dependent on the, generally, I would say I don't think any of our ordinance fines are $500.
Is this consistent with state law as far as the penalty, or is the penalty, is it a class 2?
Well, it is treated like a class 2. Technically, it is not a class 2 misdemeanor, but a city ordinance violation has the same penalty as a class 2 misdemeanor.
And that's the 500 is the max?
500 up to 30 days in jail.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Pat Jones.
Thank you very much, Mayor. In reading this over, I like how this reads at this time, and we all need to know and be aware of that the instant that recreational marijuana use is allowed to be used, that every single person who has applied for medical cannabis is going to apply for recreational use. It's not like it's going to be a surprise that this is going to happen. So everything we're doing now, and I've said this several times in the meetings that we've held, I've said it sitting at this dais, has to be with that in mind. And I applaud the planning that's taken place already to make sure that we go about this the right way. But we just need to really keep in mind that this will, poof, in the blink of an eye, want to turn into recreational marijuana usage and the number of licenses and everything. So whatever we approve, we need to keep in mind that that's going to be the same request for those as well. So we need to do, if it's the law and it's approved and the Supreme Court has approved it, so be it. But we need to do it with caution and prudence in keeping in mind what's going to be in the best interest of our community. Thank you.
Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. First, if I may make a motion to approve this item.
Second by Drew. Go ahead.
Retain the floor. Thank you. We had some good explanation why this ordinance is coming forward. So if I may direct my question to the city attorney's office.
Yes.
Mr. Landine, could you tell us the why this ordinance is coming forward?
Well, I think when we reviewed the state law, I know statements, proponents of the marijuana legalization that have appeared have said that it's prohibited in state law, but when you read it, it says a city may prohibit it, kind of. It was less clear that it actually did. So just to be safe, everyone seems to be on the same page that we don't necessarily want people smoking marijuana in parks and other things in places. Looking at the tobacco restrictions, those were specific to tobacco and not smoking in general. So I decided that it was appropriate to bring this forward because, frankly, I thought the state law language wasn't as clear on prohibiting smoking in public as some people have stated, and while it's unclear whether or not it actually prohibited, it was very clear that we have the right to regulate that. So
that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor for approval of this item. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 37, first reading ordinance 6499, an ordinance amending section 17.06 of chapter 17 of the Rapid City Municipal Code. A request by Sitka LLC for a rezoning request from General Agricultural District to Medium Density Residential District property, generally described as being located southwest of the intersection of Country Road West and Brook Street. And the recommendation is to approve in conjunction with a planned development designation. Motion by Solomon to approve in conjunction with the planned development, and a second by Jones. Okay, motion and a second on the floor. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 38, appeal by Devin Wolter of 1018 Blaine Avenue of an exception request denial to allow a driveway approach with less than 50 feet of clearance from College Avenue, and the staff recommendation is to deny. Is there a motion on the floor? Motion by Drew to approve the denial. Denial, or seconded by Nordstrom. Okay, motion and a second on the floor to deny the appeal. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 39, approve resolution number 2021-071, a resolution establishing fees pertaining to the city's designated animal control authority. Motion to approve, Drew. Second. Second by Jones. All in favor of the motion on the floor to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 40, approve allocation of surplus undesignated funds. Looking for a motion for item number 40. Richie Nordstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make the motion that we move this back to a working session, or correct me, I may be wrong on that title, but this may be, so I will stand for a correction on the title, but move this back to the next working session for further discussion.
You're talking about the Wednesday working session?
Yes.
Okay.
If I'm incorrect on that, and it goes to the committee
fine. We have
meetings,
one more. We have one more
working
session apparently.
That'll be my motion to send it back to the next.
Okay, then we have a second
session.
by Bill Evans to that effect.
Okay.
So we have a motion on the floor to remove item 40 from this agenda tonight, take it back to the working session, the next scheduled working session. All in favor of that motion say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 41, under community development items, a request by Sitka LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed lots 1 and 2 of Block 6 of Catlin subdivision, generally described as being located southeast of the intersection of Country Road West and Brook Street. The recommendation is to approve with stipulations. Motion by Lehman to approve with stipulations. Second by Stroman. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 42, a request by KTM Design Solutions for Yasmin Dream 2 LLC for a preliminary subdivision plan for proposed Tract 1 of Diamond Ridge subdivision, generally described as being located at the intersection of Diamond Ridge Boulevard and Radiant Avenue. Okay, we have a motion by Drew to approve with stipulations and a second by Roberts. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Down to public hearing items 43 through 48. We don't have any speaker requests on these items, so we'll go to go to Darla Drew.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right way to do this, but in the council items and liaison reports, reconsideration notices, I think in lieu of what we heard tonight, it might be good for us to revisit what we did with the fire and police bonuses, hazard pay, whatever you want to call it. Is this the correct place to do that? I don't know if how my colleagues feel about it, but it might be a time to look at that again.
Well, since you didn't vote against the hazard pay for other city employees, this could be brought back to an agenda as a new item. I mean, you voted only on police and fire.
Can't add something to it.
Okay.
But it could be brought back next time as a new item.
Does anyone want to look at it again?
Mr. Mayor, if I might too, when I was telling them that you probably weren't going to act on this tonight and that they could leave if they wanted to, that was their hope, that it would be on a next agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Could it be added to the working session agenda for next time, and then we can work it through that process to eventually bring it to the full council? It would get ample amount of discussion at that time before it came to a full vote.
Yes. That's what would happen. Okay?
Can I make a motion for that, or do I just say, could it go? It'll just go?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
It'll
you.
magically appear.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, on to, public hearing items 43 through 48. There are no speaker requests, so consent public hearing items 43 through 48. I have one request to pull item 43, and that comes from the finance director. Are there any other items that council wishes to pull? If not, could we have a motion to approve items 43 through 48 with, 44 through 48 then? Motion by Evans, second by Stroman. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 43, Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Evidently, there was some confusion as to what the West Boulevard Neighborhood Association was actually asking for. They do not want to sell alcohol at this event. They just want to have a little beer garden. They've been in contact with both the city attorney's office and the police department, who are fine with it if they contain it to a certain area within their block party, and so it's not just wandering all over the place. So what they're asking for is an open container, and it's not the ability to sell alcohol.
So it'll be free?
I'm not sure if it's free or if it will be a BYOB. I have no idea on that one.
Free?
So is it your impression then that this item 43 is not needed tonight then?
Not the way it's written today. They need your approval for the open container portion of it.
Yes, Bill Evans.
I believe Richie and I were at the West Boulevard meeting when they discussed this block party, and I think it was just a bring your own. They just didn't want people sitting down with their lunch and drinking a beer out of their picnic basket to be in trouble. So I believe that's what they want.
They are working with the Parks Department on an event, and the police as part of that process on an event permit. but there needs council approval to consume alcoholic in a public space.
Okay, so item 43 then, just for the sake of tonight's meeting, would be to allow public consumption of alcohol in a designated place according to the city attorney, police department, parks department plan.
The park and related to Wilson Park and the street adjacent where they're having their event.
Okay? Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this a request for a permit? Or is this a special permit?
No, they're going through it. We're a city, there's lots of bureaucracy. There is a permit process for a permit in the park and the street. But separate from that permit, which is an administrative process that you don't need to approve, you do need to approve as a council based on state law, the consumption of alcohol. So they will continue to go through the event permit process with the Parks Department. What you need to approve is the consumption of alcohol component of that as in conjunction with this event on public, since it's a public park in the park and the street adjacent to it.
So it's no different than another nonprofit coming forward with it?
Correct.
Okay, that's clarifies. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, item 43 then would be to approve the consumption of alcohol pursuant to the police and the parks plan. Good enough? All in favor of that idea, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, and that takes us through consent. And now on to item number 49, the bill list. We'll go to Finance Director Pauline Sumption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are no additions to the bill list, so the total is that which is attached at $7,312,220.63.
To approve Solomon, second Roberts. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn by Jones and a second by someone else.
It was more like 45 minutes.
We're adjourned.
Now, if we had discussed the allocation of funding, we'd probably still be here at 9 o'clock.